Hello, welcome to another edition of the Burke Briefing. Today we have joining us Senior Supervisor of Code Enforcement, Mr. Brian Chaney. So many residents and community members ask code enforcement questions. Well, today we have the expert here who can answer all code enforcement questions. Hello, Mr. Chaney. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you guys?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Let me ask my first question.
Sure.
What is code enforcement?
Great question. Code enforcement, we enforce the minimum housing codes for single and multifamily dwellings, as well as environmental nuisance such as high weeds, high grass, overgrown vegetation, shrubbery, trash, and abandoned vehicles, as well as junk vehicles, just to name a few.
What is an abandoned vehicle?
Abandoned vehicles usually is either parked on the side of the street, or it could be also in the yard. It doesn't have proper tagging. Usually it hasn't been moved in 7+ days, no registration, and those are the vehicles that we cite as abandoned vehicles.
How can the community help with you and your department with code enforcement?
That's a great question again. Report all your complaints. It's easy, just call CityLink, which is 311, or 336-727-8000. Again, that is 336-727-8000. Call with all your complaints and put them in the CityLink. That way it's able to track, it gives you a number, you're able to track the process with code enforcement as we're addressing those issues.
Okay. Does code enforcement address mold?
Great question. Great question. Unfortunately not. You have to have a professional that specializes in mold treating, mold testing. We do, however, we can cite for moisture, which could be things like broken plumbing, or bathroom leaks or something of that nature, something that creates moisture, but we do not test for mold.
I've heard so many complaints about code enforcement takes so long. Code enforcement does not come to our community or in our ward. What is your response to this complaint?
I hear that as well. I like for citizens to understand that we are governed by the city, state, and federal ordinance and statutes. And what that means to us is a process. We are mandated that we give the owners the opportunity to abate the violations prior to us addressing the issue. Say there is a environmental, high weeds, high grass. We have to give the owner the opportunity to mow that lawn and resolve that violation 8 days before we go out. If they don't, then we'll go out and we'll do it for them, and of course at their expense, and say that it's a housing case. It could be a housing case that will eventually end up into possibly a hearing. If it's not abated by the owner at that time, it could lead to civil penalties and fines as well.
Okay. What would you say are the most challenging issues that your department faces?
I think the two that comes off the top of my head are national issues. One of them will be illegal dumping. Since the pandemic, we have seen a huge increase in legal dumping. And, of course, we're responsible for 133 square miles of the city. So right now we've identified about 30 local sites that we have for illegal dumping, and with our abatement team and the NCOs, the code officers, we're out there, we're targeting those areas every day. And then we got about 21, 22 cameras we have at those sites. That would be my first one. The second one, again, national issue, is homeless. Since the pandemic, that is something that involves not only code enforcement, but different agencies within the city and outside the city that collectively we have to address this issue. So it's an issue that is growing, it's prevalent, it's here. So with illegal dumping and homeless tent, those are two issues that I think right now are real critical to what we do.
I agree. As I talk with many citizens who have concerns about illegal dumping, I advise them to, of course, contact CityLink, and I know that your team will respond immediately.
Correct.
Also, I advise them that they can take pictures of the illegal dumping and provide the location, the address location,
Absolutely.
and send it to my office, to my CAL, Tamara Bradshaw, and we will put that information in CityLink for them as well. So I think that together we can address the issues that we see in our community. And again, please tell the citizens one more time how they can help to address these code enforcement issues that we see in our community.
I would say the first thing is call CityLink and report your complaint. Call at 311. Again, that number is 336-727-8000. Call CityLink, put in that complaint, and then it's routed to the NCOs, and then it gives us the ability to address and investigate that case for you.
Okay. Well, Mr. Chaney, can you think of anything else, any other valuable information that you could share with our citizens today regarding code enforcement before we close out this segment?
There's nothing more.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Burke Briefing and providing this valuable information about code enforcement. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Burke Briefing.